Hey everyone, and welcome to today's explainer. Listen, if you've ever, struggled to make a new habit stick, or maybe you've just felt totally overwhelmed by the sheer amount of effort it takes to transform your life, well, you are absolutely going to want to pay close attention to this one. Today, we're unpacking a truly profound concept from our source material called the architecture of compounding devotion. And trust me, it's a real game changer because it fundamentally flips how we think about time, energy, and human effort.
So let me ask you, have you tried dramatic change and produced little? Seriously, we have all been there. You get this sudden, massive burst of motivation, right? Maybe you buy a whole new workout wardrobe online and you declare that starting tomorrow, you're waking up at 4 a.m. to overhaul your entire routine and completely change your life. You put in a massive, sweeping amount of effort, and then what happens? A week later, you're totally burnt out, exhausted, and pretty much right back where you started. You produced little to no actual, lasting change. It's frustrating.
Well, if that cycle of massive effort followed by inevitable burnout sounds familiar to you, you are exactly the kind of person this explainer is for. Our source material speaks directly to this very frustration. You see, the failure, it isn't your willpower. You really don't need more motivation. You just need a better framework. Our culture constantly feeds us this idea that success requires these giant leaps, monumental shifts, and exhausting single dramatic actions. We're sold the lie that transformation has to happen overnight and that it's got to be painful to be real. But relying on sweeping, dramatic actions is actually fundamentally flawed. It basically guarantees eventual collapse because it completely ignores how human endurance actually works.
Okay, so that brings us to Section 1, the trap of dramatic change.
And to understand exactly how to escape this trap, let's look at Section 2, the Benedictine structure. This is an absolutely fascinating historical case study. Now, whether you're familiar with the Benedictine monks as a religious order or not, I want you to look at them right now through a completely different lens. Think of them as giving the ultimate masterclass in endurance and time management. The secret to their incredible, long-lasting endurance was actually pretty simple. The Benedictines structured the day around the office. Now, in this context, that obviously doesn't mean sitting in a cubicle. It refers to their meticulous, daily, rhythmic gathering. They didn't rely on massive, one-time bursts of spiritual enthusiasm. Instead, they built a highly deliberate, organized daily framework. Their entire existence was completely anchored to this predictable rhythm.
8. That's the magic number here. 8 times across a single day, the entire community literally stopped whatever they were doing and gathered for prayer. Now notice this wasn't one exhausting 10-hour marathon session. Not at all. It was broken down, it was frequent. Just think about the quiet, rhythmic power of that kind of approach. Small, frequent repetitions throughout a single day. Stopping, resetting, and executing a small action over and over and over again. Honestly, it sounds almost too simple, but the power of this tiny repeated rhythm is just staggering.
And that brilliantly illustrates the ultimate result of that simple rhythm, 1,500 years. Just let that number wash over you for a second. Think about how incredibly difficult it is for most of us to just maintain a new daily routine for 15 days, let alone 15 centuries. This specific, repeated rhythm survived wars, famines, shifting empires, and the passage of entire eras of human history. It operated successfully for a millennium and a half. I mean, no way, right? But that is the ultimate proof that their daily architecture wasn't just some nice idea. It was a deeply functional, highly optimized system for human endurance.
Which brings us to Section 3, the power of compounding. This is the core mathematical mechanism behind all that massive success.
Now, we usually associate the word compounding with finance, right? Like compound interest on money. But our source applies this exact same mathematical reality to human effort and devotion. Just look at the contrast here. A single dramatic action, like that massive, exhausting effort we always try to make, has zero momentum. It inevitably fizzles out. But a small repeated action, kind of like the Benedictines gathering 8 times a day, well, that acts like drops in a bucket. On day 1, the small action feels pretty insignificant. But when you multiply that across weeks, months, and years, it creates an unstoppable compounding effect that totally, completely eclipses the dramatic action.
And that leads us right to the definitive concept of our explainer, compounding devotion. It's defined as the structural insight that a small, repeated action across years produces effects no single dramatic action can produce. Just take a second to really let that sink in. You do not have to change everything all at once. Actually, scratch that. You shouldn't change everything all at once. You just have to change one small thing and systematically repeat it across the years. The daily architecture is what does the heavy lifting, not your fleeting motivation.
All right, finally we have Section 4, our human blueprint. Let's look at how this becomes an actionable guide for us today.
So, we're moving from ancient historical frameworks right back to you, the modern viewer.
Because the beauty of compounding devotion is that it isn't just some dry history lesson about monks, right? It is a highly practical way for us to operate at our absolute best today. And the source text gives us a very specific, actionable step to start building this for ourselves right now. It prompts you to simply comment the word engine. And by doing this, you'll get access to the accompanying workbook materials directly associated with the source. This workbook is designed specifically to help you take these exact insights and begin mapping out your own daily rhythms. It's basically the bridge between just understanding compounding devotion and actually implementing the whole shebang into your own busy life.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is captured perfectly in this exact, powerful quote from the source material. This is our human blueprint. I just love the absolute conviction in those words. Compounding devotion, this whole rhythm of small repeated actions, it's not just a nice little productivity hack. It's literally the ultimate realization of how human beings are meant to build lasting change. It is our blueprint. It's exactly how we're designed to endure, to grow, and to transform over a lifetime without completely burning ourselves out.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this one thought to chew on. What small action will you build into your blueprint today? Not a massive, overwhelming overhaul, not a dramatic, single action that's going to leave you totally exhausted by Friday. Just one small, manageable action that you can predictably repeat. Remember the math of compounding devotion, guys. Your lasting transformation isn't going to happen overnight, but through small, repeated actions, it is absolutely inevitable. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I seriously cannot wait to see the blueprints you all begin to build.